While we're on break for the holidays, we want to bring you a sampling of our CyberWire Pro offering that we've made available to all of our listeners. Subscribe to CyberWire Pro and get this exclusive content ad-free along with essays, transcripts, and other bonus content. Visit thecyberwire.com/pro and subscribe today. There are indications that ransomware attacks have slowed down, and many speculate that Russia's war on Ukraine is a likely cause of that slowdown. Some say this lull provides organizations an opportunity to catch up and shore up their defenses. Nick Schneider is president and CEO of Arctic Wolf, and he believes businesses and organizations should be using this time to prepare for the next wave of attacks.
Yeah, there's continuing to be more and more ransomware, within the marketplace. I think certainly we've seen a little bit of a slowdown in the number of attacks, and I think that can be attributed to a number of different things, with likely the largest cause being the Russia-Ukraine conflict. But I don't think, ransomware as a, threat actor's, at least top few choices is going anywhere anytime soon. So it's something that organizations are going to have to pay attention to, protect against and have, plans of actions and budgets for, I believe likely for the rest of time here, unfortunately.
What are some of the things that you've been tracking in terms of how the ransomware operators have adjusted, how they've evolved?
I think that they've gotten a lot more sophisticated, both in the manner in which they attack, but also in their operations themselves. So by doing so, they've been able to get deeper and wider within organizations over an extended period of time. And by doing that, they're able to do a lot more damage or get their hands on a lot more, company information. And as a result, they're able to or decide to act in a way that allows them, to ask for, for more ransom or more, funds to, get the company out of a position that they don't want to be in. And they've done that both through, kind of the capturing and locking of certain data or devices, but also through, I think more recently some extortion tactics. So they're real businesses now. So whereas it might have been a little bit more grassroots in years past, some of these organizations have, HR teams and picnics and, things that you'd expect from, a traditional organization. And as a result, they're a lot more sophisticated in the way in which they approach, kind of their business and their tactics.
Given where we stand today, what is your advice for organizations who are looking to dial in, the amount of resources they apply to helping prevent ransomware?
Yeah, I think we have an interesting time right now in that the number of attacks has subsided slightly. So there's been a little bit of a reprieve for organizations. And I think what I've found or what I've heard as I'm talking to, folks in the market is that people take that either as an opportunity to kind of shore up their defenses or, in my opinion, the wrong decision would be, to take a slight lull as an opportunity to, move or allocate budget or priority elsewhere. I believe that any lull that we've seen in ransomware, relatively recently will come back, and it will likely come back, and then some, meaning it will come back in a more, meaningful way than we even saw, prior to a slight slowdown. And those organizations that use a little bit of slowdown in attacks to really firm up their security posture will be the organizations that are in a really good position. And those that have, kind of neglected it, over that period of time, I believe will wish they hadn't. And what to do, or the advice would be to make sure that it's a topic of communication with the executive staff, make sure that it's a topic of discussion with the board, and make sure that you're investing in, your security posture in a material way so that you can ensure that you're protected, over time. And I think as companies do that, they'll find that the best way for them to be protected is to build a solution or build an ecosystem within their own environment that allows them to deliver multiple outcomes to the business. So how do you detect and respond? How do you make yourself aware of any potential vulnerabilities? How do you educate your employee base? How do you set up education around phishing and social attacks? And then do you have a plan if something does go wrong? So do you have an incident response team or a retainer? And tying that all together is going to be what's important for organizations. And unfortunately, that's a tall order for a lot of organizations. So that's kind of how we specialize. Is we like to view ourselves as a security operations cloud that can provide multiple outcomes to a customer. But whether it's Arctic Wolf or not, having a comprehensive plan and leveraging what is a little bit of a lull in activity, I think will be really important for businesses.
Can you speak to the difference between engaging with an outside company such as your own, or versus handling this sort of thing internally? Are there? I can imagine there are pluses and minuses to either approach.
Security is complex, so you need to have the ability to understand your security posture against all your attack surfaces within your employee base. You need to do that in a way that allows you to detect and respond, that allows you to identify vulnerabilities, that allows you to educate your employee base, that allows you to have incident response capabilities. And for most organizations, being able to have a full security operation is really difficult technically. And that's not to even consider the difficulty of getting the right talent and skill sets in house to be able to deliver against the technology that organizations might have in place. There are far more cybersecurity jobs than there is cybersecurity talent. So depending on the organization, you might be able to consider a portion of, or in really large organizations, the entirety of your security operation being built in-house. But for most organizations, leveraging a company that has built their entire business off of cybersecurity is probably a route that will provide better outcomes and likely at less expense, and almost certainly make you redundant to individuals if you were doing it yourself within a team leaving or taking a new role, which in cybersecurity means you've gone from protected to unprotected overnight, right? And I think third parties can allow folks to kind of minimize that risk.
It seems as though the rise of cryptocurrency and the rise of ransomware kind of went hand in hand, that crypto was an enabler for some of these ransomware actors. We've seen signs that perhaps crypto will be regulated or clamped down on. Do you think that might move the needle?
Yeah, I think there's two conversations on this. One is the price of crypto, the price or the value of cryptocurrency. I don't think that will have an impact. They'll just adjust their requests based on whatever currency that they're benchmarking the crypto against. The regulations, I think, could have a short-term impact. I don't believe it would be a medium or long-term impact. Again, these organizations are now running significant businesses. To believe that they will just fold up shop with some adversity in the crypto markets, I think is a naive belief. So I do think that those things will likely help in the short run, but I believe in the long run or even in the medium run, the bad actors will find a way to continue to capitalize on vulnerabilities within an organization's cybersecurity posture.
That's Nick Schneider, President and CEO of Arctic Wolf.